Hello and welcome to another episode of the NK Active podcast. I am Nick, the director and podiatrist here at NK Active, and we are currently joined by Charlie, one of the other podiatrists here at NK Active. So this month's topic is all really come about because Charlie was listening to a podcast and we thought actually this is a very good area to have a chat about. So Charlie, what were you listening to?
So I was listening to a podcast called The Good, The Bad and The Rugby, and it was James Haskell predominantly talking about his experience of living with pain since retiring, and at that point having access as part of his career to all of the medicines, the interventions and management needed for him to perform at that elite level. And then since his retirement, that kind of support network and structure has been removed, and therefore he is now having to find his own way of how to manage and look after the conditions and pathologies and past injuries that he has acquired through his career. And that got me thinking, I guess, about what happens to our patients here at NK Active and the journeys that they've been through at those different levels of doing exercise for fun, for amateur and for professional level. And
it then really does lead nicely to, because obviously you may retire from elite sport in your 30s, early 40s, mid 30s, but you're still going to want to do things after, because you just don't go doing sport, leading that as a lifestyle and then think, right, I'm never going to do any activity again in my life. You're going to want to do things. And then it then leads nicely into, well, actually, okay, how are we going to do this? Because unfortunately, biology is not on our side. There's something called sarcopenia, which is the technical term for your muscles just getting weaker over time. And we know that basically from the age of 0 to 30, it's all great. We're constantly getting stronger. However, unfortunately, we hit 30 and it's a little upsetting because it's all downhill from there, really. So we know that from the age of 30, this sarcopenia is starting to set in. And then we know when you hit the age of 60, that rate of regression within the muscle strength doubles. But we know there is things that we can do to basically combat the biological effects. And how do we do this, Charlie?
So one method of doing this is strength training. And what we mean by strength training is lifting weight or a heavy load at low repetition. So you're not doing it many times, but you're doing it so it's significantly challenging and you're perceiving it to be hard work.
And what we mean by load is, because it's a term that's used a lot recently. And in a nutshell, what we mean by load is the amount of effort and work the body is doing to achieve something. So you could look at your total workload throughout the day, and that is actually how hard does your body have to work to do your day-to-day activities. And then when we then talk about increasing the load with strength training and lifting weights, that's all about actually how much do you need to lift, or how much do you need to do, so then you can increase what you call your load capacity so you can then tolerate doing more throughout the day. Because if we think in very, very simple terms, it's sort of, if you've got a certain amount of capacity and you want to do more activity, you basically need to make that window of capacity bigger. And the only way you can give yourself that higher capacity is by doing some strength training. And it is something that is now actually being updated by the World Health Organization. They now actually recommend that as we get older, we should be doing 3 strength sessions a week. And the reason for that is we want to try and maintain our capacity to tolerate doing more and more as we get older. So this is all well and good, but there are certain barriers and there's certain preconceptions out there, especially when you sort of speak about doing strength training. A lot of people's minds automatically go to gyms, weightlifters, I'm going to look big and bulky, and it couldn't be farther from that. So what are the common barriers that we tend to see in clinic when we're speaking to people about doing strength training, Charlie?
I think the first one that we have is this confidence on knowing what to do, what type of exercise to do, how often, and checking that you're doing the right technique. So the first thing is just providing you with knowledge and confidence to be able to go and do those movement patterns with a weight. The other bit is thinking about what equipment you have either at home or what you have access to. So some people will prefer to do that in a gym environment. Others, it will be at home. Some people in the garage. Some people, it might be out for a walk. So it's building it into your routine. I think the other thing is about time. So where are you going to fit it within your day and within your week? And also starting to think about how you're going to build it so it's fun and enjoyable, so that you're going to continue to want to build on that rather than feeling like it's a chore or something that you have to do.
And I think the other thing is also there can be previous experiences that have led someone to, well, I've done this in the past, it didn't work, I can't do it again. But it may be they just didn't approach it in the right way. And there are some tips that we can help people with in overcoming these barriers. And the equipment is, I can't do this because I haven't got a weight at home. And the biggest thing is, if you think about the human body, if you've got, I don't know, a few bottles of water, you've got 5 litres of water, that's 5 kilograms. The body doesn't care if it's in, say, some bottles or if it is in a 5 kilogram dumbbell. All the body knows, that is 5 kilograms. It doesn't really matter what that weight it takes in its form. So then we then think about things like bags for life. We've all got tons of bags for life around. And it is one of those things that we actually think, well, actually, they can actually take a lot of weight in there before they fail. And actually, we did do a little experiment here at NK Active where we put a bag for life on a bar and we said, right, we'll put in more and more weight in this bag until it broke. And we got to 60 kilograms. And we couldn't fit any more in the bag. And the bag was still just hanging there. It didn't break, even at 60 kilograms. So I'm not suggesting you go and put 60 kilograms in a bag because I don't want that it may fail. But the point is actually they can take a lot. And you're thinking, if you're holding one of those in each hand, you could comfortably hold 30, 40 kilos, 50, 60 in total. So there you have got a significant amount of weight to start doing things. And that could be the same if you want to do something called a deadlift, which is basically picking a stationary item up from the floor. And you'll see people doing that in the gym. But you can replicate that at home. You can just put loads of shopping in a bag for life, literally bend down and pick it up. That is the same action. And that then goes back to Charlie's point of, well, let's try and make it relatable to what you're going to do on a regular basis. Because I think if you can do that, you get what that's called the emotional buy-in. And as soon as you do that, you can then get that consistency on doing it on a regular basis. And actually, how often do you need to be doing it? About 18 minutes, 3 times a week is what the evidence shows us. So it's not huge amounts of time you need to dedicate to doing this. So there are so many myths out there around strength training. And we need to start breaking these down and just get people doing more of it. Because do you know what? The stronger you get, the more active you get, the happier your life tends to be. So, Charlie, 3 tips for the listener on, okay, they appreciate, okay, I need to start doing something. Not sure how I'm going to go about it. What are your 3 biggest tips to help someone?
I think the first one is actually registering that you need to change, or that you need to make a behavior change in order to have to incorporate it into your world. So that's kind of, first one is registering that you need to do something differently. I think the second one is then having a look at how are you going to need to receive the information to learn how to do the training part of that. So that may be thinking about teams or groups of people that you may wish to work with in order to help you start to learn those processes so that you can then build it, and with the aim then that you do it yourself or with friends and family to keep you going. And I guess the third tip is thinking about how you're going to build that into your world moving forward. So it's going to be just a bit of planning.
And that is so important, because if you can do that, you get consistency. and you are better off. You just, in a nut, you need the consistency of doing it. If you're not going to be consistent, you're not going to get the results. It sounds blunt, but that is just the truth of it. So we would rather you do a small amount and be consistent rather than set unrealistic expectation goals and targets that you then start doing lots of things sporadically. Small and regular, being consistent is far, far better for you. And it is, just start with doing something gentle and something small, and then just build up over time. And if you get a few niggles doing it, that's absolutely fine. A few niggles are perfectly normal. It's nothing to be scared about. So hopefully you can now sort of see the importance of why we need to do this. And actually there is help out there. You don't have to be an elite athlete to be able to get the information, just be able to start doing the things you need to do to help you live an active lifestyle as you get older. So I just want to say thank you to Charlie again for coming on the podcast. Please do subscribe to the podcast. If you have any questions or queries, please do get in contact, and we shall see you on the next episode. See you later. Bye.
Bye.